If you do your own laundry, you have probably had a fairly common experience of putting a pair of socks into the laundry, putting the load into the washer and then the dryer, then taking it out of the dryer to sort it. However, when you get done sorting the load of laundry, you find that only one of them came out again. No matter how much you try to find the other sock, and no matter how hard you looked, you could not find it. It just seems to have magically disappeared. Sometimes it just seems like there's a magical interdimensional portal in the back of your dryer that keeps sucking up socks. Furthermore, this portal only sucks up one sock in a pair, leaving you with just one sock. Now, of course, this is not the real explanation, but if Rod Serling had ever done a Twilight Zone episode on the topic, that is probably what the explanation would have been. However, there are several possible explanations for each case, one of which is actually a rather interesting and highly scientific possibility. One possibility is that the sock never made it into the dryer from the washer. That is, after you finished with the washer, the sock simply got left behind, and you did not notice it. Looking later on, you may have even checked the washer and did not find it. This could simply have been a result of it being hidden while you were making a quick check. Now, if you own your own washer and dryer, you will eventually find it. However, if you are washing a laundromat, then you have the likelihood that somebody else will take the sock. Imagine for a moment a person with a pair of the same type of socks, and they find your sock, thinking that it's their missing sock. They would simply take it, thinking they had found their sock. No intention of theft, just thinking it was theirs. In such a case, you would not find it, but you may find yourself latching on to somebody else's identical sock that they lost. Yet another possibility is that your sock got left behind in the dryer. This can happen because most dryers have the drum on their side, and in many cases, you have to stoop down to access them. Furthermore, the sock can become electrically charged, and the resulting static could cling it to a part of the dryer that is out of sight. Once again, if you own your own washer and dryer, this is not a problem because you will eventually find it. However, if you are washing a laundromat, then you have the same problem as before, where somebody else takes the sock thinking they've found their sock. Like with the dryer situation, unless you find it immediately before leaving the laundromat, it is likely to be gone for good, unless you find another one that somebody else has lost on a future visit. One very simple possibility is that you simply drop the sock on the floor. Now, once again at home, you will likely find it, but at a laundromat, and likely gone for good for the same reasons it's mentioned earlier. Another possibility that could happen to such a sock is that it accidentally gets kicked underneath the washer or dryer, at which point it will not be found until either the washer or dryer is removed. Of course, then it has to be the right one. Otherwise, you still will not find the sock. Furthermore, if it occurs at a laundromat, somebody else will find it other than you if it is under a washer or dryer. The probability of a sock that has fallen on the floor of the laundry room getting knocked underneath the washer or dryer goes up if you haven't shared your home with a cat. If your cat finds it first, they will likely see it as a plaything and quite possibly push it under the washer or dryer, causing some of the same earlier problems. Without question, the simplest way you could be missing a sock is to accidentally leave it in your clothes basket while sorting your laundry. In this case, it could either not end up in the washer at all. Under such an occasion, you might not find it until after you do your next load of laundry. The other possibility would be that you simply missed it while sorting your laundry. If that is the case, you would probably find it pretty quickly by rechecking your laundry basket. The ultimate solution to this problem comes from the fact that within a dryer, some clothes tend to develop static cling. When this happens, a single sock could cling to a shirt or pair of pants and be hung up with them, or folded in a drawer without being noticed. This could be particularly the case if the sock is inside the shirt or pants, because you probably would not notice it even if you were looking. This is actually a very likely situation to occur simply because static cling is very common within a dryer. Furthermore, unless you're paying close attention to the point where you do a thorough check on the inside of every shirt and pants, it will be quite easy to miss a sock that is inside, particularly if it is up an arm or a leg. This would seem to be the most common way in which you might lose a single sock while doing the laundry. This is because static cling is a common result of materials such as being put into a dryer. So, while it is not the only possibility, it probably causes more long-term missing of socks, simply because it is the hardest to correct immediately. This fact is further enhanced by being a natural result of doing laundry in a dryer. making it a highly likely culprit.